Hey everyone, welcome back to another video with me, Andy. Hope you're all doing well. And in this video, this is actually called a Dallas Caddis. The reason why it's called a Dallas Caddis is my friend Stephen Dallas started, I don't know whether I'm not going to say he invented these, but he's the only person I've seen tie one of these. And so that's why I started calling it the Dallas Caddis. And the last few times I've been out grayling fishing, for some reason this Caddis is, well, not for some reason, it's just caught a lot of fish. Obviously there's something about it they like, and that's the most important thing. Anyway, the hook I'm using here, this is actually an Osprey. This is a size 10 jig hook by them. And we've got a 4.6mm tungsten bead by Troutline. So the thread we're using is a brown, this is an 8/0 by Textream. And we're going to start this thread just behind the bead. And now, once I've got a bit of thread on there, I'm just going to basically taper this, so basically move up and down, emphasis on slightly more turns on the up, and that way you create like a conical tapered section, and that cinches your bead in nicely. So now we're going to take our thread down about 2/3 of the way and trim off our excess. Sorry if you're hearing noises in the background, my son's playing in the next room, but if people want videos, then unfortunately we've got to get used to a little bit of noises from my son in the background. So I'll just take my thread a little bit further down. When it gets to this point here, I'm just going to tie in the very tip. I forgot to tell you what material I'm using. Material for this section I'm using is virtual nymph skin. So it's this one here, virtual nymph skin, and it's just a normal, plain standard colour. And I've cut it into a slight little taper at the front. So now we'll tie in the tip and just wind this down. I'm actually going to take it around about halfway around the shank. Yeah, about there, and I'm going to come back up. There we go, just to where we started it. Now, all we're going to do is basically start at the bottom and wind this up. I want it basically, I've actually done that too slightly. I actually want the turn slightly closer together on this one, because Stevie's, when I looked at his, were relatively close together. So basically you're doing it kind of overlapping maybe 2/3 of the actual material. So keep wrapping this all the way up. There we go, until you get to the point where you started. Now come over the top of your thread. Keep a little bit of tension on the nymph skin, if you don't want it to slip. Just do a few turns. And there we go. So that's pretty much secure in there. Give your nymph skin a little pull and trim it off. Now I'm going to do a few turns over that tiny bit of excess nymph skin just to make sure it's nicely secured in place. So there's basically this is going to be your little caddis section here at the back. That's your little caddis peeping out of his hole, so to speak. Next step, if I can find them, there we go, is we're going to add some partridge. So I'm using, actually I'm almost out with this. This is Troutline's selected partridge. It's brown. Just going to grab, I've only got two feathers left. Oh my gosh. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to just pull this, going to find the very, very point, and just rip that off, and then get like a little V. You don't need the V, but I don't know why, it just seems to tie in nicely if you put the little V there. Now I'm not going to wrap these around. All I'm going to do is place them pretty much on top. That'll do us. And come over the top with a relatively loose turn and just tie these in. Now they should splay. There we go. So it's going to be your caddis leg sticking out. And then just trim these off where your next V is, because these fibres here, they're going to do me another fly, and that's, you want to make your materials last as long as human possibly for yourself. Next material we're going to use, this is the F&F chewing gum in the Caddis brown, and we're just going to tie this in at the head. So at the head, just where we tied in the partridge, and then just tidy up by winding your thread all the way back up to your bead. Now just make sure your partridge isn't in the way, and just do your first turn of the caddis. And now we can just touch and turns, wind your Caddis material or the F&F chewing gum all the way up. When you get to the head, going to turn over the top, turn in front. Just do this 3 times, that'll secure it in there. And then trim off the excess. Last but not least, very simply, grab some freaking varnish, put it on your thread, grab your whip finish tool, and there's actually a 7-turn whip finish, so come in and trim off your excess. And there you have it, there is your Dallas Caddis. Give this one a go, honestly, it's caught a lot of fish. I think this may be the way that this peaks out, I don't know, but something about it seems to be catching fish. But anyway, thank you very much for watching the video, hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next one.